This week's Nebula exclusive is directly related to Furiosa. I'm going to be watching my Fury Road video with a super secret special guest.
This is terrible. I don't want to watch my video with you. This is awful.
Why?
Oh.
She's very pretty. Opening with the same 3 notes from Fury Road's title card gets me all revved up. Sorry, that absolutely will not be the last engine pun in this video. Was a shock in theaters is a shock now. So offensive, so loud. Kinda like this movie compared to all the other Mad Max movies. It's relentless, punishing, and loud, and I love every second of it. Ooh, this zoom in. It very succinctly explains why the green place was never going to last.
Valkyrie.
So Julia and I just did our EGA Fury Road reaction, and I mean, super secret, not Julia person, and I remembered I almost forgot to put in that Valkyrie is in Fury Road. Or maybe not, we disagreed on the logistics.
It's probably the same girl.
It's her?
Yeah.
Oh, but wouldn't she, wouldn't there be some kind of, conversation about that when they saw each other in the little...
She was like 7 or 8 years old.
Sign up for Nebula to find out who wins. Is that an IKEA Pong? No, that's a bike upgrade I can get behind. And that's all you need to know about how this movie will treat its main characters. I'll always want more, but I enjoy that this is really all we see of the green place, and it's enough to know that they have actual buildings, clean water, solar, and wind power. Hot damn, she barely took a breath before that shot. No hesitation. Dude's dead, gotta get his bike. Plus, this is the guy who had his fuel line cut by Furiosa. We see him try to start it and then hop on the back of the other bike, so there's no way they're leaving a bike behind. I mean, in theory. There's some brutal subtext there that if she gets captured, she and Furiosa also can't live. I love that she's so chill when she wakes up, knows where she is and what the situation is. Doesn't panic, already a total badass. And there it is, the stuff that screams George Miller Mad Max movie. The motion stabilization on the biker's face while backing up over the sand dune, and then we continue through the sniper's hole in his eye. Death is no excuse for forgetting to put your lock through the front tire. Love how many things they accomplish at once. The tire creates a dust cloud and disables the bike along with taking the fuel tank.
No one's gonna scum us anymore.
Congrats, Australia, all your slang sounds dirty. Yeah, starting to get why they call him Vulture. Love the sound of the bike as she rides up the hill away from the cameras. Starting to understand why they call it the Thunder Bike. There's something intriguing about all the women from the green place being played by literal models like Charlie Fraser, and then she's also a total badass. That eye cavity isn't gonna give me nightmares. Also, is that wig a scalp? Like multiple scalps? That was some serious quick thinking. I like that Chris Hemsworth is just too beautiful to use his normal nose and be a baddie. There also seems to be a deliberate Roman emperor parallel being drawn, but he balances it out with that beautiful beard.
It's got everything. How do you know that?
Most everybody in the wasteland seems real stupid. And it makes sense, they're all malnourished with loads of cancer, and the point is that it makes sense that one mildly bright and charismatic dude can rule them. Gross. We're not gonna pretend like she doesn't look awesome here. Hey, this guy made it. He had a rough go of it in the first movie, but I knew he'd pull through. Never mind.
I will say nothing, not a word.
Mercy. Yeah, it ends up being no good deed going unpunished, but the mere idea that the Vovolini tried to do the right thing probably says more about their living conditions than anything else. Why would you show us such a hopeful thing?
You're bleeding. Do you hear that?
And with so few lines, we see how much of a badass Mary Jo Bossa really is. She continues to ride away from the camp while on fire until she knows they can't see her anymore, which burns her back so much that she bleeds, and when Furiosa points it out, she's only concerned with the incoming sounds of bikes.
Plant this seed. Protect the green place.
Dementus fertilizer shadowing.
Don't look away. You mustn't look away.
I'm honestly not 100% sure on what the blocked violence here is, nor do I want to think about it too much. But of the two things I've already spent way too much time thinking it might be, I do know that forcing Furiosa to watch might come back to haunt you in some very literal ways.
History man, a word burger, please. Tears.
Human tears. The secretions of the...
Love a word burger, and this further explains why Dementus is the mildly intelligent guy that he is. Torturing someone is no excuse to stop the intellectual nourishment.
Yes, the sorrow is more... piquant, zesty.
Starting to think this Dementus guy isn't very nice. He should die now, I think. The Octoboss's horns really add a worse level to the already Mel Gibson-y torture.
We have a problem. There are 20 of you, but only 5 bikes. Today,
We dance to Darwin, the 5-bike teddy!
It was right around here that Julia said, "When I say I want to die before the apocalypse starts, this is what I'm talking about. Why would you want to live through this?" And honestly, it was the first time I ever truly understood.
Ready, steady, go!
We love a scene that does multiple things, and here we get how Dementus acquires new gangs. They weren't all just his followers from the beginning. That's why Rizdale Pell calls Toe Jam a Roobilly.
A Roobilly told me.
It also gives us our first real glimpse into how bonkers and ruthless Dementus is, since torturing Mary was more about getting information. And it updates us on Furiosa, the simple switch from her trying to close her eyes when Mary was being killed while Dementus told her to watch, and now that she's his, he says she doesn't have to watch, but she does, likely because she's dissociating. The implication that Furiosa is a biter. In classic George Miller style, he used some of the same actors for multiple parts, and this time in the same movie. Believe it or not, this is the Vovolini general from the beginning, who also happens to be married to Dementus in real life. Also, that's definitely cheating, but like, her Dance with Darwin group of 4 is all dead, so what are they gonna do? I saw this in theaters and then made Julia watch it at home before making this video, right after Fury Road, mind you, and I think it was right around here that she let out an exacerbated noise of some kind. All that to say, this movie is brutal, even when they don't show the worst of it. And I love his expression. Knowing now what Dementus explains as his purpose, to just feel something to make his loss go away, the look is almost torturous, like he hates how much he loves this evil stuff.
And human blood sausage.
Waste not, want not? Ironically, it's actually way worse than that. Lucky, we don't all make the best choices for our first tattoos. What an absurd statement of tactlessness. Just pure waste, and it fits the man deftly. Warlords don't want to be known for moderation. The reveal of the bolt in his head, and yet he's still such a happy fella.
Am I in Valhalla? We're looking for a place of abundance. What's abundance?
Having a copious quantity of something.
What's copious quantity? A lot of stuff, a lot of good stuff.
Again, the non-idiot will reign. I mean, usually. I guess it depends on what we're talking about.
It's got everything. A humongous amount of fresh water.
I like to think that Humongous's name was so revered that he actually replaced the actual adjective.
Where would one find this Citadel? That way, maybe.
I hope Bolthead guy lives forever. Lizards do not have a good time in the wasteland. Speaking of Humongous, this was also his move. Again, we aren't about temperance. The sound cutting out is extremely effective at making Dementus' crew imposing, but then this wide shot shows how big the Citadel really is.
The Red Dementus!
Intentional or not, the Skyblood flare for the Red Dementus thing really worked out in his favor, because he looks extra menacing and crazy.
I give you nothing in return.
Yeah, populist rhetoric doesn't work with actual cults.
Adorable.
He really can't hide that he's a total a-hole, and yet, I don't think he's even intimidated since he's insane.
Rizdale Pell.
Is there though? Because Rizdale is already up on the cliff. It's the same actor. So much going on with People Eater's kit. Nip chains, gas mask, well, you can see it. I don't know what you even call that.
For this negotiation to go further, you must choose any war boy. Just one.
This truly is the ultimate negotiating tactic.
What if I choose not to choose?
Then you'll never know the truth.
Got a flashback of The Vanishing, and honestly, I'd prefer to not know the truth.
No, to the right.
Oof, dodged a bullet there, bro. The smile on Smeg's face. They still don't understand what's happening.
Witness me!
What an amazing set piece. The buildup of the horns in the score that cut out as he drops, and then just the explosion in the background so we can hear and see Dementus' reaction.
Yellow fools for coming here.
And it really doesn't get more badass than letting your opponent choose one of your soldiers to prove their loyalty and then walking away after a very mild insult because it's barely worth your time. Goodness, our warlords could learn a thing or two from the Citadel. Wait a minute, wait.
I am Scrotus.
You really are, Slit. You really are. Yeah, it's Nux's frenemy from Fury Road, and just the most incredible delivery. Never doesn't make me laugh, and I think I'm gonna just randomly put it in videos from now on. I mean, I guess saving your, or like re-kidnapping your kidnappee? Yeah, that's it.
Bait scavenging.
This is our destiny.
Clairvoyance, red flag clairvoyance, but clairvoyance nonetheless. It's taken until my 4th watch through now to realize that the signature blare that we hear over the title card doesn't actually come back until way later, but there is a hint of it here, and it definitely triggers something primal in my brain. And it's during more classic George Miller Mad Max with the battle happening off in the distance. I never get tired of how real it makes the world feel. None of the god pieces in this film disappoint.
Yeah, do what he says.
questioning my authority.
All words are made up. I'm sure that mild dissent won't come back to haunt you.
Mortifiers.
Settled.
Who wants to be a war boy?
I think I'd do just about anything for Octoboss. He's just too cool to say no to. That's a beautiful... Whoa, that must... All beards are beautiful, all beards are beautiful, all beards are beautiful, all beards are beautiful. That is a beautiful beard.
You're scum, Dementus! Scum!
I mean, seriously, I'd be upset, but like, you gonna disobey Octo Horn King?
Open the gates!
And yet, he was right. The whole willing and eager to die for your warlord thing sucks, but it's also why Immortan Joe rules for as long as he does. Bleak! Mr. Norton shows us time and again that she does not play. Honestly, with how gross this movie can be at times, let's be thankful it's just a finger.
If we're not back safe by sunset, we blow up Gastown.
Mutually assured destruction works some of the time. The fact that there's definitely an easier way to use this guy as collateral really just adds to the very long list of evidence pointing towards Dementus being a handful. Dementus had the string for the nip rings tied to the saw trap, so you might say he's a little... demented? Yeah, he looks pretty dead, but look, he's here at Fury Road waiting for water.
Not like the genetic absurdities you have for sons.
He's got him there.
Take her blood for blood pudding.
See, what did I tell you? The fact that it's from a living child really ups the ick.
Untouched by man or disease.
That why are you upselling my daughter look from Dementus? Just a pair of nip stumps chilling in the background.
And also, him.
I mean, I'd want the mule on my team too. You expect some sort of heartfelt goodbye, and instead he's just petty. And yeah, the implication is that the bear was his kids, but still, petty AF.
Shove that little beauty out into the wolf.
Again, very bleak with the pan to Scrotus. If we're to assume that Scrotus, one of the
Genetic absurdities you have for sons.
is a success story, there isn't a lot of hope for the babies coming out. It's been almost an hour and Furiosa has had very few words other than hedging her bets with Joe over Dementus, so it's good to be reminded that she's still in there. Look, there's an obvious assumption here, but I think Miller leaves it up to interpretation. Are the dolls creepy AF? Yeah, of course. But also, Rictus comes off as a child in a man's body. Don't get me wrong, nothing good can come of this. I'm just choosing to believe he wanted a friend, or at the very least didn't have a plan beyond, ooh, jingly. The point is that Furiosa recognized it and used it to her advantage, because regardless of his intentions, there was no way he would sound the alarm when she escaped. Girl knows what she's doing and has thought this through. Almost like human things help trees grow. Weird, doubt that'll come up again. Sick way of showing the passage of time, though. Look, I ain't no snitch, but someone might need to call OSHA. The camera work here does such a great job of making this sequence terrifying. They slowly crane down over Furiosa to the dogman hanging onto the bucket, and once he slips off, the camera whips back up to level with her.
You're the new dogman.
You know what we haven't done in a hot second? Also, this guy's belt with the seatbelt buckle is either just decoration or they've come up with a safety harness situation that involves seatbelts, and either way, I love it. There she is. Time jumps and actor switching can sometimes feel clunky, but this one totally works. You automatically know it's her.
He's a dogman. Very useful. Scrawny.
And she's so scrawny, I actually had to look up Anya's height, and she's 5'8", so either the entire cast is over 6'5", or there's some fun digital trickery going on here. I literally wish I could go back in time and add a win to Fury Road about how, if they ever did a Furiosa prequel, good luck finding someone with Charlize's level piercing aqua blue-green eyes. Just so I could say how wrong I was, because goodness gracious, Anya. And like, not to belabor the point, I assume there's a little color grading, but the contrast of the whites of her eyes, it's a weird thing to talk about in a universe with cannibals. That's not lost on me. I don't want to eat them. I'm sorry, Anya. Nice eyes. Quick, put up the book. Pick up Lines from the Wasteland, Volume 3. No one's gonna scum us anymore.
And brung back the booty every time.
Yeah, I bet he does. He seems like a competent general. I saw that smile behind the mask. Nothing beats a time lapse. A montage is a close second, but they're technically opposites, because in the former, the things are actually getting done. Love the hint at who's behind the upcoming attack with Octoboss's horns on Immortan's sigil. Pretty sure that's the Shadow Man from Hug the Sun.
The light.
What a piece of artistry, and it's probably obvious, but since this war rig is brand spanking new, it's still new looking. And if it seems like an upgrade from Furiosa's war rig in Fury Road, well, yeah, movies gotta one-up their predecessors, but more importantly, we're seeing Immortan Joe and the Citadel at its peak of abundance,
A lot of stuff, a lot of good stuff.
And it seems like they used the best of the best parts of what they had to make it, and, well, it doesn't make it in the end. Plus, in times of war, opulence becomes less important and functionality takes precedence. How about we chill with the big words, Medium D? And no, I'm not gonna ignore these freaking foot ski William Bob skate shoes. The amount of ingenuity that goes into stealing other people's stuff in the wasteland is always off the charts. And this attack seems so stupid on paper and is executed so amazingly on film. Only George. And yeah, it's gonna lead to some brutal deaths, but that's just part of their whole thing in the wasteland. I can't give these guys self-sacrifices. I mean, any more than I just did, but goodness, I feel bad for the war boys sometimes. I'll be honest, this scene confused the crap out of me in theaters. Not sure if I looked down or sneezed, but just in case you were in the same boat, she didn't grab the Mortifier's bike. The Mortifier's bike ripped the tarp off of hers and knocked its chains loose. It's really obvious once you know what you're looking for, but it happens fast. And the Smag really could have picked any war boy. They are stoked to get onto the war rig and die for guzzling. I sort of love that Black Thumb could not care less about why she's there or what's going on. He knows she'll do what's needed because otherwise she's dead. There it is. That is not a sign of good hydration or healthy kidneys, but at least you're not on fire anymore. Honestly thought the war boy was gonna crush him with the claw, so mercy kill? While driving, Proletarian Zack is pretty badass. Whoa, 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 whoa. Bullets to the face, I can accept. Bombs to the face, I can accept. Ice bottles to the face? No, sir. Not today, sir. No, thank you, sir. Art. It's just straight up art. Are you satisfied now, Martin? Oh, she's a girl! Look, I had a whole sassy anti-win here, but let's think about it for a second. It's not that the hair revealed her, it's that the hair drew his attention that made what was obvious, obvious. Had Promethean Mike looked at her for more than 5 seconds, he would have known, but the hair just kind of makes you go, wait, what? Oh, clearly she's a girl. That's not a knife. Just crack myself up. Good times, good times. It is though, it's a very cool knife. And gun, too, both very cool. Yep. Both very cool stuff. Both of them, knife and the gun. Shrimp on the babby. So ominous off in the distance, kind of getting a Nope vibe. Dang. You see it in the panic on his face, but also in the reflection. Absolutely love the Octoboss. Minigun mounted to his motorcycle that's flying with a giant octopus kite thing. And my favorite detail is that after defecting from Dementus' crew, they changed their name from Mortifiers to Mortiflyers. Badass bad guy. And you know how you know Octoboss is one of the greats? He gets the classic eye zoom before death. Hey, at least he did the chrome thing, so he's probably in Valhalla?
Stop!
Dang, Purgatorial Bryce is smooth at following directions. It's a good scream.
You may be raw, but you have about you a purposeful savagery.
Yeah, I mean, she also saved the rig and your life like 3 times. Let's count.
What's up, eh?
7 times.
You'll have all the skills you need to get wherever you want to go.
I like Jack and I like Black Thumb. The War Boys are literal cult fanatics. The other Warlords are Warlords. The other 2 guys in charge are Joe's sons, and while it's hinted that there are other Praetorians, we don't see them, but it totally makes sense to me that these types of ladder climbers, let's say, would be less interested in Immortan Joe's plan. They're just living their lives in the worst of circumstances. And you have to imagine it's refreshing to come across someone like-minded. So yeah, I'll help you get out. Sounds dope. Hey, you might want to get that liver checked, brah.
You're done here. You're free to go.
Jack is kind of like Max if he'd never become mad. He's just a cool guy helping her out. I like that they're all sleeping holding crossbows, but not cocked, because, you know, they're not insane. Nope. Look, this Dementus guy, he's done some bad stuff, but he's really winning me over by making sure the fluffer can comfortably take a walk.
Everyone's saying it's my fault, or it's everyone's fault.
Oh, well, in that case. Stabbed and barely even flinches. Badass good girl. Honestly, not bad stitch work, Jackie boy. I haven't talked about this awful stick shift knob that clearly holds the soul of someone who tried to, like, save some drowning kittens because that's just how this world works, but there it is.
You drive the V8.
I drive the war rig.
Not today. Today you drive Pursuit.
Just in case this was confusing, she's acting. It's just better for them if the war boys don't suspect anything, and if she's a little annoyed by being demoted while they're all getting promotions, they won't think twice about her leaving. I enjoyed that the last time we saw them make this trip, the entire population of Bullet Farm had turned into soccer hooligans, so obviously Palladian Clint is going to suspect something when it's completely silent and empty. Whoops, Fluffer ruined the surprise. It almost looks like they created this light with a prism. My goodness, that's the most beautiful gun in this entire movie. It's either a Winchester Model 1892 with a stainless finish or a Rossi R92, but it doesn't matter because Jack one-shotting everyone and slamming that lever so fast you'd barely even know he was doing it if he didn't know it was a lever action. Perfection. Dang, these 2 are saying so much with their eyes. Probably burns, but she got another cool shot out of it. Wonder if that grappling hook could be useful later. He loves the thrill of almost dying. Man, Dementus could have beaten Major Koenig with that move. Her Mad Max moment, if you will. I will, you will, we all will.
We're good.
They sure are, and that's actually the end of the movie, folks. They get away and live happily ever after, frolicking in the green place, being clean and having a good time. Actually, I'm gonna get in the weeds here a bit, but I think this entire scene is an interesting choice for storytelling, because there's no dialogue, so everyone's motivations are left up to interpretation. What we know is that parenthetical Norm and Furiosa were planning to leave together in the V8 Pursuit right after loading up the war rig from Bullet Farm. Jack was even teaching the war boy to drive so he could bring it back himself. And for the record, he was stoked. Joe might be a little peeved that they left, but wouldn't have lost any significant resources or equipment shy a few vehicles. And the cost to chase basically two very good employees wouldn't be worth it. But Jack and Furiosa didn't know Dementus had taken over Bullet Farm and set this trap. When Furiosa gets lucky and ends up outside the portcullis, she assumes Jack is gonna bail with her. But now Jack knows that Dementus can't let them get away. He has to assume they'd head straight to Telemort and Joe. So Jack tries to give her time to escape by sacrificing himself and battling Dementus. That's what the green flare is all about. And again, someone get OSHA on the phone. Oh dang, I hope that guy's okay. That seemed unintentional. Honestly, pretty lucky for Big D, but this is kind of his whole thing. Furiosa and Punxsutawney Phil went around, he took a chance and went over, and it allowed him to catch up to them. I promise Punxsutawney Phil is the last one, and it has nothing to do with what happens next to him. Dang, great shooting. Unfortunately, Dementus used Cybertruck glass, or like the glass Elon Musk thought he was using. Goodness, this long take is so fun. It really sells how much more powerful and faster the monster truck is than the dinky little V8. You know, you see that she still has her left arm in the beginning of the movie and you think, oh, that means we're gonna find out how it happens, aren't we? And since everything in the wasteland is awful, you feel a little sad about that, and then yeah, it delivers.
And the wasteland would have been a far better place for all of us. No!
No, this is uncalled for. My Jack Fury? I mean, what? So happy they got away. This sure is a weird dream, isn't it?
You make me the Dark Dementus.
All too real abuser language. And I haven't talked about Dementus's cape, that's actually a parachute, but Dementus is introduced to us like a priest or a spiritual leader with his white covering. He's still always doing the same evil stuff, but his cape slowly changes over the course of the movie. My feeling is that it's less to show his descent into evil, but to show the blackening of his soul over the years. More on that in a bit.
Other arm! Right! You lost your touch!
Maybe, but it checks out that Mr. Norton wouldn't care. She is bad a rough go. Look, this is up there for worse ways to die in a sense that I don't even really care to fully contemplate, but only if it's done correctly, and thankfully, this is definitely done incorrectly. Jack is dead long before D calls it quits. You can't drag someone through dust like this and expect them to breathe. So it's silver. Why do I like this movie?
Enough!
Like I said, up there as one of the most brutal scenes in an action movie, and yet the thing Miller again draws our attention to is Dementus' face. You could take him literally if you want. He's bored. He's just so evil that torturing someone has lost his interest. But that ain't it. He's in hell. He's in hell most of the movie. He's chasing sensation, as he calls it, and the evil he's doing is the price he thinks it costs. But he can never know if it will scratch the itch, and even if it does, it won't last, and then he gets his, post-torturing people to death clarity. And when he wakes up from the rush of brain chemicals distracting him, the cranky black sorrow oozes back in, and all that's left is, well, bad stuff and bad feelings, because he actually hates it. He hates himself and his life and his existence. He's being tortured by himself. It's one of the most telegraphed twists, and it's still delivered perfectly shocking. And I've seen a few plot hole accusations about this, but let's look at this scene. I'm not actually sure if it's so dusty we can't see her still hanging there, or if she's already escaped, and yeah, that should answer our questions about how she escaped. That arm was not long for this world. The bone was jelly, and the severed flesh and muscle remaining is now supporting all her body weight. So she may not have even forced the separation, it probably just dropped her. And it's confirmed again when Dementus goes to get her that visibility is nil. Solid Angry Dave cameo. That's his name, right? Also, I don't have a fully formed theory here, but the most likely scenario is that Max legit chuckled to himself and drove away. But it's possible he went to scavenge her for stuff, saw that she was still alive, missing an arm, and also pretty, and decided to drag her within walking distance of the maggot farmer. Or the maggot farmer went out and got her, either way is possible. Gross, but when applied correctly, maggots can actually help heal wounds by eating dead and infected tissue. We're gonna see the scene that taught me that in a few more weeks. They can also spread disease and bacteria if not applied correctly. And while it doesn't seem super clean in there, and I think the end goal is more maggots, they might actually be trying to help heal her wound. But who knows, they're weird. She looked right into our souls in this scene. It makes sense, but it's also heartbreaking that it's not a vision of her mother this time, but of Jack.
He wants you to leave the Citadel exposed.
I love when filling in backstory makes the original better. This means that Joe had only not fallen for this trick the first time because Furiosa told him about it, and so it's like she's insulting him with it in Fury Road.
If you find him, he's mine.
Did she already know the plan? I doubt it. Either way, the Blair after is right on point.
So gullible. I hold them profoundly in contempt.
And there's a reason I said mildly bright over and over. Because he's learned much from the History Man, has some big words, but his superiority complex is his undoing because he's a terrible leader. Although, to his credit, again, without Furiosa, he had it.
Gentlemen, it's time! Time to do war! Time to take back what's rightfully ours!
Kinda love that he thinks it's rightfully his because he, went there one time and tried to take it. He's such an amazing narcissist.
To the Citadel! And party!
But also a party animal, so you take the good with the bad.
There always was, is, and will be war.
Amazing choice that the war is effectively yada yada. Is this his, we're gonna bury him, are you happy now to Furiosa? Cause no, not yet, she's not. Ha! The war table is actually a pool table, which, that's a bummer. Pool is fun, guys. Maybe if you did more of that, we could have nice things. Okay, I like that they didn't need to make her an inventor, even if she's a mechanic. She can obviously modify it, but she just found the main component.
The oil wars, water wars, the Tri-Nation nuclear war, and now, my dears, the 40-day wasteland war.
And to add to what Julia was saying, goodness gracious, water wars, nuclear wars? If humanity hasn't figured out how to stop killing each other by this point, when are they ever gonna change? This is after us. At the very least, the us of the 1980s.
I need a vehicle.
Love that they all hop up. She ain't no dogman anymore. Again, sort of redundant in the wasteland, but that's some dang fine ingenuity. Can't do war without the doof warrior. This long take through the desolation is fantastic, with the doof in the background and Furiosa just making her way through as if she's separate from it, since she is. She doesn't care about the war, she cares about one man. And the 40-Day War is mostly just montage because the story isn't really about that. However, just showing us Dementus' monster truck disabled is an easy way to update us on the war. The Warlords all suck, but even Joe gets that it's probably a good idea to have the History Man around, even if it's just so the victors can write it. He did make it! He's even got the scar to prove it. Rick is still chasing the car, pretty much says everything you need to know about his character.
The fifth rider of the apocalypse.
That's a weird thing to say in the post-apocalypse, but I guess you stick to the classics.
No time for long goodbyes. We've done some mighty things together. Goodbye.
Honestly, it's the best way to part ways. Dang, Mr. Norton might be the toughest character in the entire movie, hanging on to the last. She was a real one. It's a testament to Dementus' control over people that it took the Smeg being moments from death to finally realize he could stop protecting Big D. But if Patton Oswalt has taught me anything, it's that the Smeg still has a long future ahead of him. Look, I'm just not really a car guy, and I'm probably about to say something sacrilegious, but Cranky Black rocks harder than almost every other Interceptor, every other car in this series. I can't really explain it looks old as crap, but it's clearly a hot rod, the tires have personality, the engine sounds angry and is in the back so it can climb sand dunes, and it's everything Furiosa deserves right now. He's bald! He had me going with that piece. I've slept on a beach before, it's not great, but I'm not gonna lie, his little tent setup here looks pretty comfy cozy. What did we tell you about the lock through the front bike tire?
You found me. You are a freak. You could have necked me in the night, but you didn't. So you must be that other thing.
Love that line. It's almost like his own secret language. Emptying his gun but leaving it for him is really next level petty mind games. Max isn't really in this one, so they had to give his signature leg brace to someone else, I guess. Kinda love that she's wearing his cape and becoming him to taunt him, but it ultimately plays into the point he's about to make.
You fabulous thing.
Compliments. And she's really messing with him. The knife isn't just missing the blade, the tang has been ground down and rounded over. And the isolation of this scene is incredible, like they blinked to a construct inside the Matrix outside of time and weather.
15 years ago, there was a woman.
Ah, so there's more to this.
I like the acknowledgement that he does know her, but is starting to understand that there's more than just Jack.
Despite everything you did to her, she was magnificent.
Ah, you were there.
And he's still deducing the story based on what she says. Even at his end, he's still the mildly bright warlord.
Of course you did.
I want them back!
My own family, my own magnificent beauties, taken so unjustly, immutably.
Did he add immutably to taunt her a bit, because she might not know the word, and it's in response to her wanting them back?
You can never balance the scales of their suffering.
And this is the explanation of the look on his face every time he did something vile. None of it worked anymore.
I'll hear it for the rest of my days.
Of course you will.
I'll feel the kickback in my hand.
Sure.
He's so nonchalant about his impending doom. Just a walk in the park. And truly, Chris Hemsworth will never get enough credit for his comedy chops. Chris Hemsworth is always a win. Pain threshold might be high, but the old brain doesn't love getting smashed around so much. There's a moment where you think maybe she's doing to him what Octoboss did to Mary, but then it's just the teddy, the only thing he seems to care about.
Little D?
He sounds so proud, which must be a stab to the guts.
To feel alive, we seek sensation, any sensation to wash away the cranky black sorrow. And it leaves us for a moment, but then it comes back. And we have to do it all again. And each time we need more until too much is never enough.
So whether those faces we got were anguish over doing evil things or just self-pity when the novelty wore off, I stand by my conclusion. He's been in hell since he lost his family, and he's trying to take everyone with him.
Oh, I've been waiting for you. You do this right, you become me.
I am nothing like you.
You are me. We are the already dead. Little D.
Especially his protege. There's almost no way for her to get out of it, and yet... Yeah, screw that bear. It may seem petty, but you don't get to keep your mementos when you steal everyone else's.
The question is, do you have it in you to make it epic?
I don't want to give him too much credit because I think it's all a game for him, and this masochism fetish he's developed to stave off his sorrow can really go in any direction he wants.
Again! Do it again!
But he also has to know that a bullet to the head would make it all go away. Furiosa ending him quick or slow would have been a gift to him, and he pretty much tells her that.
Either way, that rat shot will turn my brain into a pink mist so fast I won't even hear the sound of the gun.
But he's legit alive at the end of the movie and arguably could be alive during Fury Road. Brutal.
What you want are my cries of anguish, anguish without end. And if I could give you that, I would.
Deep in the Citadel, high up in the hydroponic gardens, there is a tree unlike any other.
So revenge is apparently best served slow and hopefully someday a la mode. So yeah, Dementus had a point because Furiosa isn't above torturing Dementus.
But I don't fear the loss of bliss in heaven or retribution in hell.
But she's not going to hell with him because she used her hatred and sorrow to grow something good, both symbolically and literally. His retribution and justice only ever led to more pain and suffering. Her peach proves to the Not-Wives that the green place exists, and plus, it's a peach. Peaches are great. Plus, Furiosa starts and ends the movie by picking a peach. Plus, I joked about the branch, but it's actually even more poignant because there are other branches in the background that do not grow since they have no wig.
Its soil is human. Its nutrients, human. Maggots debriding his necrotic flesh.
Best Cannibal Corpse song that doesn't actually exist. And she planted him in her secret place that she's always had. It's where she took Jack before they tried to escape.
This is our first fruit, but it's not for you and me. Each of us, in our own way, will vanish from this earth. And then, perhaps, some uncorrupted life will rise to adorn it.
And while Furiosa's final line is tragic, acknowledging that a happy life probably isn't in the cards for many or any of them, the symbolism of the peach offers hope for a future where humans once again become a benefit to the earth and its inhabitants, rather than the blight the warlords had made them. And you gotta love that George made this movie just to use this deleted scene from Fury Road. Hey, yo, I kid. But hey, this movie is rough, huh? Mad Max movies have always been unforgiving and unapologetic in their depiction of humanity after Teotihuacan. Max's family is never spared, innocents are tortured, and the most base evil we can think of is generally on full display. And then we got Furiosa and made all those other movies look like the brave little toaster. Scared us at first, but compared to The Secret of Nim, it ain't no thing. Don't get me wrong, each movie has its moments. Max's wife and son get run down, there's SA and Murder and Road Warrior, Max's hair and Beyond Thunderdome, and even the splendid Angharad and Fury Road. But those are just that, moments. This movie is punishing from start to finish. Furiosa is taken from her home, watches her mother tortured to death, is traded as a breeding slave only to hide her gender and true identity to avoid extra SA until she's given just a breath of happiness only for it to be dragged to death and torn apart by dogs. And I do enjoy learning her backstory because yes, she gets lucky here and there, but ultimately she forged her own fate through blood, sweat, and tears. Everything was stacked against her, and while she lost so much, she came out on top. And I get it. I do. She leaves this arm behind, and with it, any sense of happiness she ever thought was possible, at least for her. Max ends up giving her a second chance at redemption in Fury Road, and I actually appreciate the reminder that that's what it's all for, because goodness gracious is this movie dark. And yet, it does end on hope. And if I could be so bold as to talk more about the peach, the promise for a better future is truly fulfilled in Fury Road. The Vuvolini left the green place because nothing would grow anymore, and in coming back to the Citadel, they get the fertile ground that will take all their seeds. The peach coming from the Citadel is a nice reminder that it's the only place we know of that can support life, and the good guys end up with it in the end. So it ties a nice bow around these two movies together. Also, speaking of the peach, I made a note of Octoboss getting the classic eye zoom in death, and there's something insanely brutal about Dementus not getting one, because he's not dead. Oof. And really, I don't want this to be the end of Mad Max, or at least the end of George Miller at the helm of Mad Max, but it's hard to look at Furiosa's box office and have much hope to ever see Mad Max The Wasteland. But I'm certainly not closing the door. George, if you want to keep making these movies into your 80s and 90s, go for it, brother. I'll be there, front row. Well, not literally, I'm not insane, but I will attend. And like I've said a few ways now, for me, Furiosa improved Fury Road, and since I already made Julia watch both movies in a row, I decided to make her watch my video too, and I filmed it exclusively for Nebula.
This movie,
You just say it was your favorite movie
I
ever.
did not say it was my favorite movie ever.
Oh,
I said
100%.
It's one of my
This
favorite
is my
movies.
favorite movie ever, so you better love it, is what you said.
That was
Word for word.
That's not what I said.
And if you sign up for Nebula right now with my link, you can get 40% off an annual plan. First time hearing about Nebula? Well, it's this little creator-owned streaming platform that has hundreds of your favorite creators making exclusive content ad-free with, like, actual budgets and stuff. Like movies, Dracula's Ex-Girlfriend, Identities, and coming soon, The Dinner Plan, which, if you happen to see the Variety piece about it, it's like, you know, a real short film with actors and stuff. But there's so many exclusives on Nebula, including a bunch of mine that will only ever be on there, like my Spider-Man's video and my Metal Gear Solid video. It's a place where we can make thoughtful videos more in the vein of what you want to see without worrying as much about a general audience. And if you already love Nebula so much, for those of you that want to share everything Nebula has to offer with your family and friends, Nebula is now offering annual gift cards. Use the link gift.nebula.tv/CinemaWins to give a year of Nebula to a friend for just $36. Nebula truly has so much to offer, it'll be your favorite streamer in no time at all. And as always, you can watch all my videos ad-free, sponsor-free, uncensored, and often early. So sign up with my link today. Thanks.
Is that the Praetorian Jack?